Well, the pile is much reduced and they've made an effort to dig out some of the monsoon drain. So I guess tomorrow they come back and work more of that. And it did rain more this afternoon between when I last reported and this report, but I don't think it was that much. The west side of the east fence has copped some render. Don't know if the east side will also get rendered. Okay, it mightn't be as bad as I thought up there, as Daddy Nags just showed me. I've got actually 45 centimetres, so I should be able to use 20 centimetres of that easily on top of the rails. Just got to think about it further. Despite the rain, the tide's still out. I've put some lower obstacles near the door here for me to duck under. So we have the start of rendering of the south wall, and it goes about halfway along the back of the building at the moment. If memory serves, more of the scaffolding holes have been emptied and patched. More to go, of course. Looks like there's been more beautification of the west end, and there'll be more yet. So all those columns and beams will look neat and smooth eventually. All the casting marks will be smoothed over. So the canal extension is looking a bit wet and chewed up where people have been walking in it. But they've made nice sides on it. And I think the sloping boards here are showing the shape of the inside of the canal. So yeah, not far to the creek from here. It's the morning circuit, a bit after 9, and I don't think anything more has happened here since last night's report. I heard the machine reversing a couple of times this morning, thinking that it made a couple of mixes, but from its current position I think it's probably just made one mix this morning and been reversed out there. I have to go around the back of it and see where it's been, because the tracks might show it sunk into the rocky fill there a lot deeper than we'd like. Well, going straight over this back and forth has probably pushed that down quite a bit, but it looks like there was a turn over there and that's dug in fairly deep. Yep, could have been nasty. So yeah, I don't think we want to drive across there just yet. So, more beautification of the renders going on upstairs, and we're getting a bit of rendering on the back fence, wall, fence. Yeah, probably I should just stick with something consistent, so perhaps I'll just call it the fence to distinguish it from the building walls. So let's go down the end of the fence. It's rained again overnight, so it's a bit muddy, but you can see there where a deeper hole's been dug, and up there now we'll get rocks put in them to make a deeper foundation. Don't quite think I understand the science of it. I'll go with whatever they choose to do at this point. So it looks like they've done the inside of the south fence all the way up to this stage at the end of the building. They're making good progress on that. I'm hearing wood being cut inside the tank, which makes me think they might be starting to do the framing up for putting the roof on it. Overall, there's a lot fewer workers than there were So I think payroll will be down, which is good. But yeah, less wood, more concrete. So there's been some beautification of the tank stand here. There'll be more. And bricks put around the rim. I don't quite understand what that's about, but never mind. I don't have to. So the plumbing for filling the tank runs up here and across, and then we'll go up. It's afternoon, so it's time for another walk around. I have a vague feeling it may have rained since I was out here last. Certainly heard thunder earlier. But, the surfaces of the concrete beams are getting smoother and smoother, and rendering is continuing on the inside of the fence. Let's see what we can see from elsewhere. I had to retreat to shelter because the rain is coming down, and the guys are going to try and cover up their work a bit so it's not spoiled by rain. I didn't get a chance to go down and check on the state of the canal, but not going to now. See whether it's dry enough to go out at the end of the day. I skipped coming out the front here at lunchtime, and apparently I didn't miss much. Nothing seems to have happened. Well, there's not that much that's obvious out here other than more render down the back wall. Back fence, sorry. And more tidying up of the faces of these beams and columns to make them nice and neat. Let's see what else we can see. So I've been facing up more of those beams upstairs to make them nice and pretty. And having consulted with a friend on the engineering side of things, I've come up with a design for the cross bridge and the trolleys at each end, which shouldn't be too hard. I'm buying one of the 8 wheels just as a sample for a start to make sure that the design is going to actually work. Then I've just got to get 4 plates, fabricated side plates for the trolleys. So I'm sure we can find an engineering works that can make the right cutouts in them for me in the right holes. I'm sure this thing used to be full of water at one point, so I wonder whether it's just evaporated or whether we've got a hole. The canal is progressing, so they've obviously done the foundation holes, put the rock in those and necessary concrete. Now they're doing the south side, so you can see the bits of wood arranged as a V there are giving them the shape, and the string line along there just to make sure it all conforms. And a bridge, okay. So it looks like it drops down quite a bit here, so we'll see what happens. Oh well, see more tomorrow. This is the view from the west end with a pile with a lot of wood with nails sticking out. And Dadang's corn crop looks like it's flowering, although it's a bit pale, that green. And it's the next morning circuit. I'm not seeing a lot of change on the rocky fill side of things. I don't know whether maybe they're taking some of these rocks for the canal extension. But apparently work is happening here. Well, there's the answer to that. They are going to render the east side of the east wall. Don't know whether they'll do the south side of the south wall as well or not. It looks like they're starting to frame up for the roof of the tanks. It's going to be interesting because they're going to make a support for the casting of the concrete roof, which later can be removed through the 60cm square manhole. I don't see anybody working on the canal extension this morning. So maybe they're all busy on the shed. The workforce appears to be greatly reduced from the numbers at the peak. I've measured the distance between the columns that support the crane rails, and I think my cross pieces should be 2050mm long, which is only about 400mm shorter than the original design that I had, but yeah, I can cope. We're getting the depth bars for the render on the fence now. I think the net result of that is, given they're using the string lines to get it nice and straight, is that what was formerly a bit of a wave along the top will end up as a straight line. All good. It's the afternoon rounds. It looks like that pile's diminished a little bit. These, not so much. There's progress on the rendering of the east side of the east wall. And depth bars have started on the inside of the south wall now. A little bit of work on the inside of the east wall. So there's more beautification to be done on the west end of the upper beams, but they're progressively being refined. And still no more progress on the canal extension. Water level's gone down a little bit, so I can see that yes, they did a foundation up near the wooden structure up there and up near the one at the end near the creek. But looking at the levels here, there's going to be quite a step down, I think, unless they build that a lot higher. So there might even be a waterfall here. I'm sure I'll see you later. Afternoon walk around. We've got depth bars for the render on the east side of the east wall now. So that's promising. The west side of the east wall, we have the depth bars and quite a bit of rendering is done. And you think, okay, there's one man still working. That's Tadang. He's got a vested interest because this is part of his future. So he's just using up the last of the mix that's been made, I guess. And these beams along the front here, there's only the second one and the one way down the far end have yet to be prettied up on the east side. And I guess they'll probably do the underside as well. And then later I'll get on and do the columns. You can see they've started up the top of that one. They grow quite a bit when they get prettied up like that. I'm prettying up the beams in here too. There's plenty more to be done by the look of it. Then we'll get some lower ones done. There's the front of the shelf there and the front of the wall between. Obviously needs a bit of work yet. And the toilet cubicle's got a lot of work to be done. You may not be easily able to make that out, but there's formwork there for the access to the top of the front tank. And there'll be another one to the right of that centre line, or to the right of that line of Rio that you see there, for the back tank. and it sounds like the roof here is going to be about 20 centimetres thick, so I'll be able to dance on top of that without fear of falling in. But there's more render clean-up to be done yet upstairs and on the columns. That's coming along, and the initial bit of rendering for the south wall is done as far as the end of the platform for the building. Then we'll have to continue down to the end, and I'll go and poke my head over and see whether they're going to do anything on the other side, or done anything on the other side. I don't know if you can make it out, but up the far end near the east end of the south wall, they've got render on the south side, so maybe the whole thing will be done. It's the morning walk around. Where are we? Focus. Yeah, it's raining it overnight, so it's a bit damp on the road, but there's rocky fill on the move, and big flat rock. Well done. Let's go and see where it's going to. Lots of rendering going on, but they're doing manual mixes of the mixture. Rather than using the machine. Wonder why. There's bound to be a reason. Maybe the machine's broken down again with the bearings in the end of the mixer. I don't know. But there's the current state of the sacks of cement. So I've got enough there for a while. That's where the rocky fill's going. And those bits of bamboo all cut to length. Well, apparently they're going to be the supports for the tank roof that's going to be built. And I see no one's working on the canal presently. So more pretty work going on the front rain channel. Looks like the rice harvest is now in full swing. Well, it's the afternoon circuit, and it looks like we're getting close with the moving of the rocky fill to clearing out the storm drain. A bit dry there at the moment, probably should be wet. But yeah, long way to go here. Still making progress with the rendering on the east wall and south wall. Be interested to go and have a look at the other side of the south wall and see how far that's got. I can see that from the far end, or walk up this end. I think I'll walk across here. So we have the depth bars along the first section of the south side of the south wall. A long way to the end. Well, given that all those cut to length pieces of bamboo that were there earlier have gone, I think they're probably all in here ready to prop up the formwork for the roof. It's the end of day circuit, and that side of the drain's cleaned out at last, and that rock pile is diminished by the look of it. So presumably that's gone out the back for the canal. Oh, and that pile of rocky fill is diminished as well. I see in the earlier videos that once I decided I was going to call this the fence consistently rather than a wall and then a fence, I didn't stick to it very well. So I'll try to refer to this as the fence from now on. But as you can see, there's a bit more rendering going on this side. That section's pretty much done. That section's pretty much done. Well, we have depth bars down pretty much to the end of the building by the look of it. Let's see what else we can go and discover. Well, from what I can make out, it's just the underside of these two last sections of the water channel to be done, and then there's still wooden formwork up there along between the columns, which will come down, and then that will be prettied up, and then the columns. And the underside of the sloping beams, I think the end one here is done, but the others haven't been done yet. So it's coming along. Prettying up the lower of the two middle beams there. That will actually be seen because the roof trusses for the front section will sit on top of that. So I'm sure there's lots of work for people to earn money on yet. It's marvellous how you just find tools hanging around on the job site. I'm glad I hit that with the WD-40 a while back, because otherwise it's going to go rusty too. The manhole for the back tank has now got the formwork around it. So I wonder how long before we start mixing concrete for that lid. Maybe the rocky fill is going to completely surround this machine. Attachment. I think we can still reach down and pick it up. Be embarrassing if it sinks in too low. Progress seems to be stalled back here. Nothing seems to have happened for the last couple of days. I think possibly as a lot of the work crew would be off harvesting rice. It seems to be that season. But anyway, I better go and get this load on the computer and edit it down and upload it, because I think this video is getting a bit long again.